So it's 6 o'clock and I'm calling to order. I do. Calling to order this March 27th meeting of the Windsor Justice, Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Would somebody like to read a vision statement?
I haven't been here in a while. I'll be glad
Yeah.
to read it. So we dedicate ourselves to uplifting the voices of those most impacted by inequities, seeking justice for those adversely affected by systemic racism, bias, and oppression, and constructing intentional policy towards social equity in town government and its institutions. We strive to foster a welcoming, diverse community where all people can thrive.
Thank you, Karen. Let's go around and do an introduction of members, starting with Emma, name, pronouns, and role.
My name is Emma Caffrey. My pronouns are she and they, and I am the select board liaison to the JEDI committee.
My name is Mara Hershey, she, her, and I am the chair.
Karen Lipinczyk, she, her, and the community liaison.
Amy Vickers, she, her.
Brett?
Brett Mativier, she, her, secretary.
Great. I am going to read out the rules for public participation. It's nice to see public here tonight. At the beginning and end of each meeting, there are times for individuals to speak on items not on the agenda. As we work our way through the agenda, there will be further opportunities for the public to weigh in on each topic after the committee has had a chance to discuss among themselves. To participate, please use the raise your hand option or wait to be called on, and wait to be called on. If you're in the room, raise your hand and wait to be called on. Come up to the table and state your name for the record. And we respectfully ask for comments to be brief if possible in order to move us along. For announcements, I've got Veggie Van Go. That's on the second Tuesday of every month. This one next coming is April 8th, 2025 at 10 to 11 in the Goodyear parking lot. Next Windsor Community Dinner is Thursday, April 3rd, hosted by the Windsor County Sheriff's
That's
Department.
great. What a nice sponsor, Mary. Ooh,
The next one will be Thursday, April 17th and hosted by Simon Pierce.
nice work, Emma.
I don't know anything about that. I'll be making deviled eggs for that.
Oh, I'll come for your double egg, sister.
That is 44 Main Street, serving at 5:30. And then DH's third annual Community Impact Social Justice Awards are on Saturday, April 26th in Nashua, New Hampshire, and the tickets are on sale right now. I have a couple extra ones that happened after I made the agenda. The Cobra Lily Collective, they are a queer collective and like trans support group. They're hosting a free Cookies for the Community event in White River Junction to celebrate Trans Day of Visibility, and that's March 31st at 5 to 6:30 at the Newbury Market Building, which is 5 South Main Street in White River Junction. And then I saw someone posted, Tamara Hodge posted about End Homelessness Vermont is requesting donations for Vermonters who are about to end up on the street on April 1st after the end of the hotel and motel voucher program. So they're looking for tents, sleeping bags, blankets, generators, tarps, lights, food and water, first aid items, backpacks, that kind of stuff. And you can follow them on Facebook or reach out to Tamara Hodge if you have anything you'd like to donate. Does anybody else have any other announcements? From the public? Cool. Do we have any amendments to tonight's agenda? Nope. And now approving the minutes of last time, February 27th. Oh, wait. Was it? Yeah, February 27th, 2025. Do we have any amendments to the minutes? Okay,
I move to approve.
move to approve. I will second. And do we have any discussion? Okay, let's vote on the minutes. Aye.
Aye.
Hi. Britt?
I think she
Aye.
said.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. She's like, no.
Those minutes were
Terrible.
not. great.
All right, and then public comments for items not on the agenda. Does anyone have any public comments or anything they'd like to bring forward? Yeah. Yeah, come on up and state your name.
Yeah, I'm Tom Dunn, and I'm on actually the Windsor Conservation.
Oh, nice.
And I'm also going to get on Paradise Park as well. And I work with Jim. So anywho, I thought you guys had a looking for another member possibly. So I was interested in it, as long as it's not on the days that is on, like our meeting to be the third Wednesday, and I don't know for sure, but I think the Paradise Park Committee is on the fourth.
Well, this is right now, yeah,
The
this is
regular
only on
meeting.
Thursday. Well, the parad, is that what
Is
time?
yours on the fourth Thursday?
Yep.
It is, but it's at 6 o'clock. And
Okay.
they actually, the select board, which was, they moved the meetings for the select board. I don't know. I don't want to speak for y'all. But that for, at least for select board, because it was a scheduling conflict, they were able to move it from Tuesday to Wednesday to help. But also scheduling, as you know, is like,
Right, well, I just
Ridiculous.
didn't know for sure, because I want to get on the Paradise Park Commission, so if there's a if it's the same day,
is it the same time is the
I
question?
don't, well, regardless.
Having two on the same day is a
Yeah,
lot.
Be hard.
No, it's hard. I have select board on the fourth Wednesday.
But I
This
just
one-
wasn't sure, but I'd be more than willing to be a member, because I can understand how things are, and I'm in the community even more so since I just retired. Today was my last.
Congratulations on that.
You're talking about that.
So anywho, I have more time to do a lot of things, and
Yep.
so I was kind of interested in it because I know how it is living in Windsor, because I grew up in Windsor,
Mhm.
and I went to high school in Windsor. And then I went service and lived out in California, and then I come back. Now I'm in the same house now that I
Oh, my
grew up in.
goodness gracious.
So,
Mm,
anywho, you know, I know how the kids and the children and how racist people really are, and it's really sad. And I've seen it through the generations. Because I was born in '63, so
Oh,
I've
you're
seen it
a youngster.
early '70s, and how it's changed, and it's just, it really hasn't changed so much. And I actually was eating with a friend at the community dinner, and she had her two boys there, and nobody else was sitting by them. So I sat by her, and we would talk. People know me. I'm not afraid to voice my opinion if I have an opinion, because I have the right to. My own.
So far, so
We're
far.
Americans and we're free. So that's it. And I've been around the world, so I know, I have an understanding how other people live. Rick Steves, he just passed away. He used to travel around, and he said people don't people don't want to be called ignorant, or because it makes them think they're stupid, but they just don't understand. They just don't understand how other people live. And I've seen people happy with a bag of rice and not happy. But it's just people with more respect and such. And now it's a generation of, computers and whatnot. But anyway, I thought I'd just.
Thanks for reaching out, because you
But
had emailed, right?
I really would be interested if you have anything you'd like to talk about, or I can help, because I know how to help people.
You really did come at the perfect time.
Yeah.
because-
And let me also say that Camille reached out, and so she came tonight as a potential, kind of looking things over,
Oh my
so.
gosh, yes, that's awesome.
But,
So tonight,
it's up to you guys to decide, and I can write something down and.
Perfect.
yeah,
go from
we
there. Probably,
did.
I just want to make sure there isn't any conflict with the Data Commission, because it's
That's-
more important to me.
Right.
With my,
It's okay to prioritize and put your
yeah.
where you can.
well, I have to, but I want to get myself out there, because I know how I go around town a lot, and I see certain things, and
Well, so
And it's just something kind of bother me about. There's a lot of newer people that moved here as such, because a lot of the people passed away, and I've seen it throughout the years. I've had the garbage route, and 4 years now, I'd say. So I've seen other people come over, take over the house, and they're just, most of the people don't interact with anybody, or, I mean, obviously we don't have the same business and generation right now, because we love that, because it brings.
Love that.
But the thing is, people need to be feel welcome, and
Yeah.
most people are they have their own personal agenda. They don't have time for, and I think of others always in the back of my mind. It's just the way it is.
So Tom, Moira, want to
Yeah.
talk about our little policy
We
thing?
do have an appointment process. So when someone approaches with an interest in joining, we like to have people come to their first initial
Yeah.
meeting like you're doing tonight,
Yeah.
just to get a feel for how we
Yeah.
operate, get a feel for all the people.
Right.
And then if you're interested in pursuing membership, we add that to the agenda of the following meeting, and we
Great.
hold a little interview.
Okay.
And we'll also send you information, our mission, vision, values, our resolution, and you get a preview of the interview questions.
Can I
So
give
you
you
don't
my
know.
email?
Yes, I would love to have your email.
Windsorite.
I think didn't you reach out to
Yes.
me? I
Oh,
have
I
your
got it.
email.
Yeah.
I
And
have
I
your
can send all this, or Karen will be at the chair.
Yeah, that's why, I wanted to attend,
Mhm.
throw myself out there and
Yep.
find out what's going on, because, hey, I can help. I was gonna do work with, James at the rec center anyway, with bringing kids to the woods and such. I was thinking on free fishing day, we can get some, fish poles from, the Coon Club will donate. So they, you know what I'm trying to say? I know people, all you gotta do is talk to them, and I don't like email so much, because you can't really get the point out.
Right.
Yeah, because it's easier to talk to them on the phone, right? But that's just how I is it. It's better for me, because I can get a feel and know.
Thank you.
And, I'm working with James anyway, so.
Mhm.
But
There you go.
anywho,
Great, thanks.
I'll sit here and write my title.
Camille, do you want to say anything since you came? I mean, no
You don't have
pressure,
to,
but.
yeah.
I wasn't expecting to be on
No,
camera,
no pressure for you.
but no, I'm here to check it out, and we're sort of newer to town. We're coming up on 3 years now that we moved up here, so I'm trying to get more involved in the local community, given all the chaos that's happening, that's out of my control. So I joined the Friends of the Library. I'm just checking it all out because I really like living here, and I just know people more and do whatever I can at this point.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, for sure.
that's why we're here too.
Next on the agenda. Oh, so yeah, but just for you as well, after a little interview, it's really easy questions, like tell us about yourself and your relationship to the area kind of stuff. We hold the interview, and then the chair writes a letter of recommendation to the select board, and then the select board does have to vote on the membership. And currently there will be a 1 2-year seat, and you're filling out the remainder of a 3, so there will be a 3-year seat and then another 3-year seat. Is that correct?
So we have 2 seats anyway.
I think so.
Yes, I think that's it.
Cool.
But yeah, so moving on. Select board liaison. Yeah, anything to report?
Hey, anything to report? That's a great question. I would first like to say thank you guys both for coming and being involved and thinking about it, because this is a very important committee to the select board. And I just was elected to my second term on the select board. God help us all. And my feeling on how the select board should be using JEDI is like, this is a tool for people in town to come here and process ideas and thoughts and what's going on about things that are happening in town, about things that are happening in general to in general to us as human beings, and be able to crystallize that and take it to the select board, so the select board can do take action if we need to fix what is going on. You can tell it's my second term because I'm not cursing right now. Very difficult for me. Right now, there is some tough stuff going on the select board. From what I understand, according to the town charter, technically the hiring of a police chief should be appointed by the town manager. The process for this hiring has been done in a way that was pretty tone deaf to what the community was trying to tell our town manager what was wanted. Early on in this process, I was advocating for the discussion of this to be brought to JEDI because that's what I think JEDI is supposed to be for. But JEDI is also like, we're in a growing pain situation right now. So it's a tough and complex thing. As it stands right now, Bill Daniels is the chief of police for Windsor, and he has some really questionable things in his history, and the hiring process was done in a very, very untraditional way. So there's some stuff going on there, and I see JEDI coming into play as a way for people to process why that happened the way it happened and why it wasn't okay and why hopefully we can do it differently next time. The select board, a good thing that I do want to share about what's going on, positive change in the town, is that there are continued efforts to work on affordable housing.
Sure.
So that is something that is being taken as a very strong initiative by Tom and by his team to make sure that is happening. So it's nuanced, my friends, which is unfortunately how everything is. But I'm probably speaking way too vanilla yogurtly about this.
Well,
I would love for anybody else.
Page paper this morning, I don't know.
there's a section for recommendation. We can get into it a little bit. You know, obviously I
please.
don't want to rehash. I want to come up with solutions
Yes.
rather than,
Right.
you know, dwelling a little
Yeah.
too hard. But I think we can at least try to help with a recommendation moving forward. That's my goal.
Good.
But-
That's a good action.
Yeah, I wrote something down. We'll see what everyone says, but
I will say, just like for temperament of this, I think there's a lot of really good communication going on between the select board, like internally and with
Great.
the select board and the public. We're getting a lot of feedback right now, which is hard, weird, great. And it means that people are listening and people are involved, and it makes it harder, and that's okay. It's like broccoli, and that's okay.
yeah.
And I am feeling very grateful that there are people willing to come do this in these times.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
We have some on the agenda. It's been 1 month since Brett put our JEDI survey results into JEDI survey into the town newsletter. And how many respondents did we get, Brett, altogether?
Got 43 now.
Pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
We were
I thought we were gonna get like 5.
Yeah, no, seriously, I thought it was.
Just to give you a little bit of info about respondents for age, a majority are 65 plus, over 50%.
We got time to read things.
Yeah, it's definitely the people like who are the most involved in community stuff. I feel are the people who are probably retired, don't have kids, you know,
Do you want
can.
me to, I could share my screen. And
Yeah,
show the
definitely.
results.
I brought my laptop, but definitely share
Oh.
so everyone can see.
Carolyn, Camille and Tom, if you don't know, we did a survey to try to tease out.
I
Okay,
took it.
perfect, perfect, great.
Hold on. Screen. Okay. So there's the age makeup. There it is in graph form.
I would say a huge majority of people really engage with it in good faith.
Nice.
And we're not
Uh-huh.
there to troll, although my favorite comment is stop being woke.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
Stop
All
be woke,
caps.
Jedi
Stop be woke.
2025.
That was it. Yeah, so
No.
I was like, no, yeah, so. as you can
What's
see-
that next, up, the darker purple of ages?
Oh, I'm seeing something else. Oh, we're at the age, so we've got 55 to 64 was at just over 20%.
Okay.
Yeah. About 5% was 25 to 34. But yeah, huge majority was the older 65 plus population.
Do we have any idea if that reflects the demographics of town?
That's a good question.
I think there is a big.
Right,
demographic
consistent,
of-
Yeah.
right?
Yes, there's mostly older.
Yeah.
People older than me and my parents' age.
Yeah.
Yeah, high 80s. And, oh, yeah,
Mm.
they're everywhere.
Well, God bless those young people who did answer.
And a majority were female, over 60%
Interesting.
of respondents.
Mhm.
There. Definitely, again, with the demographic makeup of Windsor, almost 90% were white. I think we have the actual numbers down below on Britt's.
Really see them. It's small.
Okay, yeah, we're at 88% for white, Hispanic, Latino, 4.6%. Native American, Alaskan Native, 2.3%, and then 2%. Prefer not to say 2% said mixed race. Everyone's who answered been in town more than 10 years.
Oh,
Long-timers,
that's
long-timers.
interesting.
But, I would say the biggest things that stood out to me were, the responses, the open-ended questions.
You want me to scan down to those?
Yeah, I kind of compiled a little bit. Nothing massively stood out. I definitely encourage everyone to go pour over it a little bit later. I think Britt sent the link and it auto updates, but
Nice.
I think my biggest takeaway from the responses was there's definitely an interest in creating more regular community
Mhm.
education events, speakers, film screenings, book discussions, stuff that we're already pretty attuned to and think about. So all of these answers are oh my God, we're on the right track. It's also visibility. People are there just needs to be more notifications of certain things. Someone said, Black History Month passed without a word, that needs to be recognized. And keeping Jedi and
By Jedi or by the select board?
oh, I think just in general, by the
Okay.
town.
Yeah.
And, just keeping these discussions sort of at the forefront of public conversation, try to increase our visibility. Staying, I think, honestly, trying to stay in the town newsletter weekly, monthly, if not weekly. Whether that be, a commemoration, it could be a community spotlight. I was thinking highlighting inclusive efforts around town from all kinds of different places, from the
Yeah.
school, from the hospital, from local businesses. It just gave me a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Hearing
Write them down.
all the comments.
Send them forward.
Sorry.
I also was thinking too, the fact that this was anonymous might have been a factor in people saying something, because I was wondering maybe I wish there was some way to have some anonymous feedback form or something, whether it's on the Jedi webpage or something. I feel coming forward can be really hard in public on camera. Writing an email with your name attached to it can also be hard.
Mhm.
So maybe anonymity is something to think about.
I think it's something to think about to get more voices heard. I think that's probably why also sometimes we struggle with attendance, is that people don't want to be associated with.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, which is it's so sad and silly, but I think the concern.
It all really is people don't understand.
Mhm.
They don't understand.
And we're gonna talk about that later,
Yeah.
about there's gonna be a DEI.
They're thinking they could have had a bad situation with one particular person, and then they blame everybody that way.
Hmm.
And then they'll call them name you wouldn't really want.
Oh, I was like, whoop.
No, but it could be any race.
Yeah.
I've heard it and seen it everywhere,
Hmm.
all over the world.
The only thing that I would be scared about is like, who's gonna be screening that to make sure somebody's not
Good
reading.
point. Good
Like, that just is my fear of like like, they're gonna be wonderful message, hard message.
Sure, that we can take, but ugly.
And then like ugly or weird, or like
Yeah.
people, when they're feeling scared or unsure about something, like yesterday at the select board meeting, I was like, I don't go on Facebook because people are not their best selves on
Yeah.
Facebook, and I don't want to see it. I will hear about it and figure it out, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not,
I
anyway.
what
I still
else?
think it's worthwhile though. I
Yeah,
just would be,
definitely.
I want to
I
be,
was just like throwing out ideas.
which
based
are
on
wonderful.
What people are saying. There was a ton of shout outs to community dinner, which was great. People really want to get out of their houses and get together in third spaces. Like there were just so many recommendations for things that gets the public
People,
together,
yeah.
people out of their houses.
Community events, I mean.
Yeah, community events.
Fun things, kind of.
And speaking again of visibility, maybe whatever iteration of JEDI in the future, you know, we've talked about hosting community dinner, something like that could be something to think about moving forward. And I was telling Mary, like, I grew up outside of Columbus, Indiana, and if you've ever heard of Cummins Engine Company, they, the owner, what was his name, Jay Irwin or something. He was like a huge advocate for diversity and inclusion. And so he thought diversity was a huge strength. And so he would hire internationally. He would just find like the best candidates everywhere in the world. So I grew up in a town like in rural Indiana that was like weirdly diverse. And we had, they called it the Ethnic Expo, and it was like this long weekend of like they would set up food tents and each country had a different tent,
Yeah.
and they would do like dancing and like performances and like tea ceremonies and fun stuff like that. But it was that, I feel, is what gets people trying different things, meeting
Yeah.
different people who they wouldn't otherwise meet, having new experiences. I just really think that was really impactful for me. And
Can I interrupt you with that? And I know it's a great thing to do.
Mhm.
And it's a common, back in the day, a little while ago, the farmer's market was pretty big.
Mm.
And I was in charge of all the music, and I got all the people to come down, and they do it for like 3 or 4 hours for like $40 or whatever. But we had everybody. You know, all these vendors, and I have people bringing beef, and we had, at one particular point, we had bakers, and they were making candies and sweets, and there were crafts, and it was wonderful. And it was like every Saturday, then we changed it to Sunday, and then the person that took over the job of the treasurer decided, oh, no, we don't want music anymore. I said, no, that draws the people in.
It's true.
And what happened, it diminished, and people left, and then vendors didn't, because it takes too much time to set up and break down, and so we ended up, when it was finally almost over, it was on pavement. Down at the old Richard Gold Station where it's no more. And down there with a couple of vendors that wasn't, really even farmer market stuff. So,
Yeah, my time here, I've never seen that on the common. It was
Mm.
only-
But I'm telling you, because I got video of it.
Like 35
We did
years
it for
ago.
quite a few years, and
In the town.
it was wonderful.
I believe you.
Yep. And,
And it doesn't
people
cost anything
like
to
to come out.
utilize that space,
Gotcha.
as long as nothing's going on. The town never has a problem with anybody using it.
Mhm.
And those kind of things bring people out, like bake sales and, different,
I
Crafts,
heard
all that kind
the Windsor Exchange will likely be open again
Oh,
next
nice.
summer.
Nice.
And, they hosted an Ethiopian food night.
Yeah.
JEDI helped kind of coordinate that. But the Exchange is just a really great venue
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure this summer, the town will be like charging for usage, but if we're a town committee, I'm sure that a charge could be waived. But yeah, anyone else gather anything else from the comments, like altogether, I think the biggest takeaway was events,
Yeah,
community outreach,
yeah.
getting people together publicly.
Maybe, I don't know what form it's in.
Oh,
We
that's
could
a
somehow
great
get all
idea.
those comments to the select board,
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
sure.
because I was really interested in what people said.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure.
If we can figure out how
I
to.
know, I'm like-
Packet or something. I don't know if it's possible to export Brit from SurveyMonkey.
I think so. Let me see.
I can try and go over it in the liaison report, or I can amend or vote to have it on the agenda. I don't know, whatever you guys would prefer.
I'd really like to see the actual.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if it needs to necessarily be on the
I'm sure there's a
agenda.
way, I just don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
you
it
got
looks like I can export all.
Oh, cool. So, yeah. There was another one, like, again, I think sometimes people are kind of confused about what we do because they're like, this is a waste of taxpayer money. And I was like,
It doesn't cost
I don't
me
get
money.
paid.
Yeah.
I don't get paid.
I
Yeah, that's
Right,
right.
wait.
Budget. So, yeah, I think just getting out there and letting people kind of know publicly who we are, what
Great.
we do.
Great.
And then the other thing I wanted to discuss was sort of a recommendation for the select board, which we haven't done since, I think, the flag policy last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, to sort of give the Cliff Notes version. I've heard from Windsor residents, and I include myself in this, you know, there was some concern about the process of hiring a new chief of police.
Mhm.
You know, as well as concerns about that candidate in particular, which you laid out. You know, our charter states the town manager does have that sole hiring authority for all department heads. So Tom can handle hiring any way he chooses. Pretty much unilaterally without input from the select board or stakeholders, and that's just in our charter. And if we would want to change that, that would be like a huge, long, big ordeal. Like a long process, but with how it's written, you know, there's not really any kind of specific hiring process or guidelines, and that, you know, gives a lot of power to one administrator. But I think the biggest sort of path that could be taken, you know, the town charter gives the manager sole hiring authority, but changes to the personnel plan, like that can't override that, but you can kind of create policies that increase transparency and like stakeholder involvement and accountability without restricting the authority of the town manager.
And messing with the charter. Do you know the last time it was changed?
Oh, I don't know about the charter.
No,
but
sorry, not the charter, the personnel
the
plan.
Personal plan was last revised in 2016.
Okay, so like
So that was
10
like
years.
9 or 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it would have been written out by Tom at that time, probably, because he's been here.
Likely, he's been
Yeah.
here 10 years, yeah.
And if we call a different town manager who understands that being transparent is a good thing, that would, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to have policies in place for sure, but
And
call a different type person.
looking at, you know, other towns, their strategies have definitely been, very different. I mean, South Burlington is much larger than we are, but they did, I just thought it was just wonderful. On their website, they had their recruitment process published for everyone to see. They had JW Consulting, who held listening sessions with stakeholder groups, the general public, service providers, the BIPOC community, business community, the staff. And then they had the recruitment period the position was advertised. It tells you where, it tells you when, it tells you who's facilitating. Then there's screening and interviewing with multiple candidates. There's initial interviews. It was just very beautifully laid out. And, there was an advisory team made up of the, members of the school community, faith community, the Vermont Professionals of Color Network, the South Burlington Business Community, Police Department, City Council. It was just like, so many stakeholders are involved.
Yeah,
I feel in a department head choice like this,
Yeah.
that, the difference is really just stark to me. But looking at our personnel plan, I was wondering if you're able to find anything about equal opportunity employment, if, hiring practices that align with that.
Yeah, so I begun a conversation with, I had to go to the Vermont League, and then they sent me to a division in the Vermont political structure, and a callback I'm waiting on from someone who will be able to advise specifically around particularly town manager and support for the select board in that process.
Right. That's awesome. I'm glad you're digging into that. My thing was like, it's, we have this
Yep.
equal opportunity employment in our personnel.
Yep, it's
But
there.
then nothing to enforce that
Right.
is my issue. It seems
So the
like,
question of how to, yeah.
but I'm looking at, my thought was there's a section under recruitment, selection, and appointment of employees.
Yep, that was the page I can.
Not sure what you're referencing.
Oh, it's a personnel plan for
For the town, Windsor.
Yeah,
Page 6 in it is particularly,
Interesting.
I can send you a PDF.
Like, because I'm interested in.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
I think, didn't Ryan send it to you?
I.
Oh,
I
he
got a
mentioned,
lot,
I heard
so
him
I'm not
mention
sure,
it.
Even though I read them all, maybe it got lost in the shuffle. I don't recall.
Yeah.
Maybe I read it and I'm just don't know what it was called.
I heard him mention it and then I was like, yo, what is that? And then he sent me a PDF. So, yeah.
Just send it to me again, just in case.
Sure.
I think.
I was thinking, the select board has the power to request the town manager can recruit and hire in a specific way. So I just think this is like a little bit insufficient. And so my recommendation would be adding an addendum that when hiring a department head, selections from among applicants will be made by an ad hoc team consisting at minimum of the immediate supervisor of the position, the department head, and a member of the select board.
And adding the member of the select board would be new. So
Yes, that would be
that's
the new
only
part.
piece there so far.
Yes,
that's new.
because I mean, reading through this, Tom definitely,
Violated it.
well, no, he followed it. But I'm just saying I just find it to be insufficient for equal opportunity hiring. And then,
Who is the person on the select board that, or is there someone?
that's the thing is
That's the
like,
question of who it would be. Like,
yeah, the question of who it would be a chair? Would it be someone who's
I would
designated?
assume it would be a chair.
Mhm.
Doesn't always necessarily.
Right.
No,
I
Right.
I wouldn't think so.
I think we could probably talk about it.
Right,
It's-
totally.
I
Right.
don't think it would matter. I don't know.
I don't agree with you.
Did what they were thinking.
These are a lot of, I think, conversations that just never happened. So we
I
don't
think that's
know.
right,
Just-
Mary.
Right. And my reason for that change is it just adds at least one more stakeholder to the process that is directly elected by the town. And I just thought it was like a pretty modest,
Change to
a
help.
modest change that also
Totally modest.
stays in line with our charter. But it makes sure that the select board, someone from the select board is involved in the process from beginning
Yeah.
to end. And that was my thought. I didn't know if anyone else had any other sort of ideas or thoughts surrounding that.
I mean, I have a lot of thoughts surrounding this process and how it went down because I think the toughest part about it is Tom is really doing what Tom thinks is the best thing and the best choice, and he's trying to do the right thing. He reminds me of managers that I've had that are mama bears for their teams. I don't like how he handled this.
Mhm.
And I don't think he listened, which sucks because again, like, I don't think he's twirling his mustache. I think he's just trying to do the best, and that makes it very difficult. 'Cause I do not like what he did, and
It seems to me like he did the easiest, looking from the outside, especially when you read our policies, which say, you know, you're going to recruit from a geographic area as wide as necessary to ensure obtaining well-qualified candidates.
This part,
Yeah.
the above determination,
I
put in
know.
the judgment, and of course, his
It's the-
judgment is not to do that. So, yeah. Interesting, is all I'm saying. But if
Great.
anyone had any ideas or thoughts, like that was my sort of first, my first thing that came to mind in terms of like just a way to move forward, to get a conversation started and a sort of a solution to the stakeholder problem of, you know, feeling as if people who were elected, you know, are not even involved in, you know, a department head. That would specifically be for department heads, not for other
but yeah.
employees.
So when Richmond did their police chief hiring, they had the town manager, a police representative, a local police chief from a neighboring town, a justice center person, select board members, and 3 community members. I mean, they had this huge committee, which were not that big. So a smaller committee with a representative stakeholder seems like
Yeah.
a good thing. So that is a charter revision. And I think your modest proposal
Yeah.
is totally worth placing forward.
I think there's definitely a balance to be struck between, you know, town manager authority and select board authority. I mean, it's a good conversation to have.
No, it really is. And I
Yeah.
think it's tough because what I have said is like, we're not always gonna have a select board that has a sheriff on it. And we're not
Totally.
always gonna have a town manager that is Tom Marsh.
Yeah.
So,
Having that balance is really important.
Well, I can say something about that because
mm,
dealing with getting people appointed on positions, the way they make it, it doesn't fit into anybody's lifestyle. If that makes any sense. I mean, the way they do it, it's like,
Process.
the process itself is fine, but the way they go about doing it is when it's right for them, what I'm trying to say. And they don't make it easy for, especially especially during the summertime, if you need them to appoint anybody during the summertime.
I'm not sure what you're.
I'm saying.
Because there are
me-
certain processes and rules. that are
Correct,
there to
but
do things in a
when you have
uniform
2
way.
meetings a month, what I'm trying to say is you have
Big
2 meetings a
commitment.
month, and then you don't have meetings, and then you don't have another meeting, and then this one's canceled because there's no agenda. What I'm trying to say is, when I rely on the meetings and the meetings aren't there, I have to deal with jumping around to wait till the next meeting. And when I have a small group like you guys, it's hard for me. You know how hard it was for me to get the group going? From nothing. And now
I just want to call us back to this. I mean, I honor what you're saying, but
Same kind of thing you guys are dealing with.
I'm wondering if you want to make that as a specific recommendation or.
Is this a charter amendment or is this a policy?
No.
Policy. This is policy.
Yeah, policy
Yeah.
for the
So
personnel.
this isn't easier.
we're using the charter as a boogeyman because I don't think anybody wants to change the charter. I think,
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm just thinking that's not a.
You don't want that to be-
conversation It's worth having.
Absolutely. 10 years. Yep. Yep.
Just in general.
Yep.
I would agree with
And I think there's other
Yep.
folks out there that they think that that's a conversation worth having. Maybe after a conversation, we all think, no, this isn't what we want
It's too hard.
or whatever. But if we don't even have the conversation, that we don't even get to that point.
Yeah.
Couldn't it just be up to you guys?
Oh, no, we have recommending power and
They're an
that's
advisor.
it. Yeah, we're advisory.
the thing about advisement is you can be like, I take that under advisement and I'm not.
I'm not
doing
gonna do it.
Yeah, like my son was like, I really feel like we should have gummy bears for dinner. And I'm like, I hear you. That's not happening. We're gonna have mac and cheese. No.
I
Yeah.
would like to say, and I think, I'm hoping not talking out of turn because
It's hard.
everybody doesn't know who I am here, that I'm just a newbie on the board. So, I think going forward for the town management position. I'm really hopeful that there will be a conversation, and I'm hoping to request that maybe in our next agenda, which I don't know what other things may be on there, that we start at least talking, what will that process be like?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Because I think we need to at least start the conversation pretty quick, because a year comes very quickly.
Yeah, to
And I would like to see, I like processes.
Yep.
And I like
Thank God for you, man.
multiple
Yep.
candidates, and I will say that in general. And so I want to have that conversation with the board all in the.
Yep.
At a meeting.
Definitely.
So
And
I don't
maybe
think
this
that
could
will
be a foot in the door to get a conversation about that stuff
yeah.
on the agenda, and that can sort of, because what's happened before, I feel like sometimes something happens, it blows up, everyone gets mad, and then we all forget about it and move on, and nothing changes. And I'm just hoping like this is something that JEDI can at least help with a recommendation, even if it's just one little thing,
Yeah.
to just like move forward with a little bit more stakeholder involvement in
I-
selections of department heads.
I hate change is incremental, but change is like, come on.
So that was the one recommendation that you had?
That was it. And I didn't have time. I was like
Fine.
frantically like,
I was looking
like,
for
because
it
after
too.
the meeting last night, I didn't have a ton of information.
Right.
And so I feel like if I have some time to think, maybe I can come up with more that is actually like in line with our charter. And, you know, I think, you know, talking about the charter is a good idea too.
Really good
but,
idea.
I don't even know. I would have to do some research into like steps to
The charter.
get on that. Yeah.
So I think put this forward as a recommendation to the select board tonight.
Oh, I feel like,
Okay.
do we want to think about it and then next meeting?
Sure.
We can kind of decide and we can like at least have a month to tool around with it. and
Sure. and
Ask
read some more
around,
stuff.
research,
Sure.
figure
Yep,
stuff out.
Yep. Okay. Just didn't want to miss it if
Yeah.
we're moving.
Yeah. And you're gonna do the charter.
So make sure that goes on the agenda as old
Yes.
business next month.
Yeah. Then we have, does anyone else have anything they'd like to throw in about that, Britt or Amy?
Mary and Emma, I would say that if this woman calls me back, because the man that I talked to said she's a really great person to talk to about this specific item you're bringing to me, I would certainly pass that name to you guys.
I really think the more the merrier. And honestly, even if like I'm not a voting member of this committee and like it's useful to be here, even if you're like unable to commit the entire like role. Like, I don't know. I just like you guys.
Okay.
Moving on to, we got like 15 minutes before Amy's gotta go, but let's do new officer appointments. We're voting on, like we discussed last meeting. Let's start with Amy for secretary. Isn't that what we said? Yeah. Amy
Yay.
as secretary. So is there a motion?
I move.
You move?
Yes.
I second.
I can't vote, but
Do we have any discussion about Amy as secretary?
Because you and Britt are both done. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Were you guys able to connect about, sort of duties and stuff, Britt?
You sent me some stuff, yeah.
Okay. Great. So let's have a little vote. I vote yay.
Yes. You can vote.
I can vote for myself.
Oh,
Yes, you
yeah,
can.
you can.
Sure, yay.
Yay, Britt? or nay?
Yay.
Okay.
Amy, bless you. Thank you, Amy.
Then moving on, now we're voting on the new chair. So I did establish like, I can finish at the meeting and then next meeting you would, hold court here. Karen, did anyone like to make a motion to appoint Karen?
I'll make a motion
I'll
to
second.
appoint Karen chair. Oh,
Thanks, Britt.
Amy seconded.
Thanks.
Any discussion about Karen as chair?
thank you for stepping back into
Thank
this
you for
role,
stepping
both
up.
of you.
Thank you for stepping up. Like, yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you for all that you've done. And when Mary was there, I mean, there's a strength to our Jedi that we didn't have before.
I'm gonna go ahead and bring it to a vote. I vote yes.
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 Yay, Karen's on your chair and Amy's on your secretary. Looking ahead.
Can I say something?
Yes.
On your recommendations, like as far as, if Amy is finishing out a one-year term for 3 years, I wonder if he has to go through the process again, or write a letter, or just say, I've been on and now I'm interested in the
I don't know.
full 3 years, because April is when those letters have to be in. Anybody new coming onto the board, you need to put those, send them to you or whatever, so that the appointments can happen in May, hopefully. Even if it's at the end of May, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you meet at the end of April.
Yeah.
So by the time
You
you
have to
do your little
re-up.
interview thing, and then you get on the agenda, but May is when they make appointments.
Okay.
So just thinking of the timing, because she's finishing up a term. I don't
right.
know technically, I think
Cause she has one more year,
she
right?
has one, no, I thought it doesn't come from when you started. Your year doesn't start from when you started. So if she finished out a year, that means May, the 3 year seat would be up. Isn't
Mhm.
that correct?
I, for whatever reason, I thought it was next May.
That's what the website says. It says
Yeah,
2026 for
2026.
Amy.
Oh, okay.
Because I felt like, because I switched that
It's so
seat.
confusing.
It's very confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, but next May is when I think you would have to re-up your appointment, and choose, whatever seat is open, whatever you would like to do. But,
Never mind.
yeah.
Yay, but thanks for
Thanks,
raising
Mary.
it, 'cause,
Yeah.
yeah,
I need to write for you, actually,
Yeah,
like
who's
all.
where,
Who's
when.
where, what, when,
absolutely, that
what's
would be
going on.
very helpful.
Oh my
And I will
God.
keep that golden in
gonna hurt
front of
my
my
brain.
notebook.
So April is, Autism Awareness Month, and then you mentioned there was this potential DEI panel discussion. Sally Laurent,
Laurent?
working on planning some kind of DEI presentation roundtable discussion, like an educational roundtable. I know Stacy Price was gonna be there, which is great.
I think April 24th down at the
Oh.
Welcome Center.
Yeah, I was
There's
gonna-
a date.
The newsletter,
Ask you.
I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
wondering, were you gonna be involved in that? Cause I know someone
yeah, I'm
mentioned.
glad
in
to
the
be.
email.
Yeah.
Oh, so did you respond and say like you would be
Yeah,
a
I've talked
speaker?
to, oh, I didn't say I would
Okay.
be a speaker, but I'll meet with them when we plan again.
Okay,
So-
cool. Yeah. Great. I just wanted to check in on that and.
And I am writing the article this month for autism. I reached out to our favorite parents in town with neurodivergent child.
Then, wait, can I do this? Yeah, I think I could write this ahead of time. Or if someone else would like to take it on, that'd be great. May 5th is, National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. I have found there is the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center. I think maybe writing up some information about May 5th and having a link to donation would be good.
Where would it go and when would it need to be finished by?
Oh, so wait, what do you mean?
Like if writing something up for it to go in the newsletter?
Preferably before, so it's every Friday. And if we're looking at May 5th, it would have to be by end of April.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would look to try.
Nice.
But I might
Yeah.
need somebody, but I might need
Nice.
somebody to hold my hand on that.
Oh, of course.
Okay. You're like, I already did that. So it would just be like a paragraph and a link and the link to like a
Yep.
good spot. Okay.
Yep. And I can send you the link that I was thinking about.
Cool.
Yeah, this page, it's got a lot, it's like an advocacy center. They write policy, there's, donations. It says, and if you write something up, there's some facts, like more than 4 to 5
Yeah.
American Indian Alaska Native women have experienced violence in their lifetime, like that kind of stuff. Just to give people context for
if it
why
was
this day
something-
exists.
And why it's important. If it's something that you were thinking about doing and you will hold my hand while I try and do it to learn from you, I would love to try.
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
Juneteenth, also on the horizon. So yeah, I would start thinking about.
Yeah, no kidding. It's already feels like that's around the corner.
Yeah, I think just brainstorming about that and bringing a couple ideas for next time would be awesome. And then recap of plan. Are we really, no, not much of a plan. You're working with the DEI panel.
I'm gonna send information to the two of you, Tom and Camille.
Britt was gonna send the results of the survey to the select board.
Thank you.
And then as far as the recommendation goes, I'm gonna think on that and formulate more of a plan. I just wanted to discuss it tonight
Perfect.
mostly. And
Is the DEI coordinator for the SU part of that panel?
That is
Tracy.
Tracy.
Yeah, I can't remember her last name.
Right.
Yes, but she is.
Yep,
Yeah.
she's gonna be involved. I
Yeah,
think
Sally
she's
reached
part of
out
the
to her early.
roundtable
Mm.
discussion,
Yeah.
so.
Awesome. She was great.
Mhm. And then are there any comments for items not on the agenda from members of the public? Yes.
I've been thinking about welcome packets.
Oh,
It's just been way over a year,
yes.
so.
I was
wonder if
Wow.
digging
the
around,
Places that we put hard copies. I wondered if anybody can like check with those people and update, see if they need more packets. Maybe they don't, maybe people are accessing it through the link.
Mhm.
But I also thinking when those apartments come online.
No, no kidding, right?
And we don't have a date yet. I mean, we think it's gonna be sometime this summer, really.
Hmm.
No, I've been emailing the, I think it's Stewart's management, it's gonna be like managed.
Are they?
I don't, you know, anyone, you could get on this list so that if something comes forward. So I was thinking, you know, we may want to do something there, but I was just, we spent a lot of time on
Did, yeah.
these welcome packets.
Yep.
And I don't know if the places where we put them out, whether they need any more,
Mhm.
because they didn't necessarily have a card from people who dropped it off.
Right.
Well, we're, you know.
Who
we
did
got one
they?
from Jenna.
Any more? Who do we
Well,
call?
they did have a card in the folder, I think. I think Brett made up a card,
Yes.
but that doesn't mean once you give out that last packet to somebody else in the management company has your card, to know who I call. I don't know. Maybe there hasn't been any movement on it being a hard copy. Maybe people just aren't interested. We weren't sure of that.
Good to look into.
Just something to think about.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
We'll check on
Absolutely.
for the places that,
Yeah.
Or at
cross
least
them off.
updating to the online.
Well, yeah, that's a good idea too.
Because I was digging around for documents and stuff and I saw the, welcome packet. Most of it is up to date, but
Right.
some stuff like the overdose awareness meetings and stuff, not meeting or not relevant right now.
Right,
So,
right.
but yeah, it's a good thing to revisit. And do we have any Jedi member comments?
I have just a quick thing. I'm also part of the Windsor Recovery Center Recovery Community Organization Planning Committee. We're trying to get a recovery center established here in town. Just a place where people can go to get education, support, resources, not any place where we would be providing treatment, but someplace where we
Sure.
can link people with
community,
treatment if needed. So two things, we're trying to plan a film screening, not as a fundraiser or anything, but just to sort of get our message out and promote awareness of what we're trying to do. And and this is a documentary film, that the, director is, coming and screening for.
Wow, very cool.
That is, follows the lives of a few people that are in their struggle
Great.
with substance use. And so we're looking for a place where we can screen it, and we're hoping for May or June, somewhere around there. And two, if anybody knows of a perfect spot where a recovery center could go, we're open to hearing all of that too. So.
How about utilizing the welcome?
I was thinking that.
For the screening?
They, as long as no one else is using it.
Yeah, we're looking at
You
that as,
can-
it's
You can
hot in the
close.
summer.
we're looking at that as an option where we were hoping for someplace bigger, but we have that in our back pocket. if
What
we-
about, I'm trying to think of the name of the place. it used to be the old roller skating rink, and they fixed it all up. Right behind Friends and Company in the alleyway right here. But they fixed it all up nice.
I've never been in that building.
But they may as well at the old Windsor house there, they do rent.
Okay.
And it's very reasonable. I had an artist friend that rented a spa, and it was like $100 a month.
We're trying to make it work with the school. That would be ideal.
Right.
But May and June is just a crazy busy
Oh,
time
the
for them.
school, sure.
Right, that's why.
It may be that we
I
end
I
up
have some
pushing it
ideas,
to later in
Amy.
the
I'll
summer.
email you.
Okay.
Do we have any other member comments?
No, I'm very, thank you guys for yay and being
Yeah.
here and I appreciate it. We are the little Jedi that could.
Yep.
We are.
All right. That's